All right. Well, welcome you guys tonight. I am so excited for our topic tonight. This is one that is something that we have dealt with a lot in my family. And so I'm hoping that we can share some things that'll be really helpful, beneficial for everybody. And as we go, please feel free to put things in the chat and um, also, please feel free to jump in as well and ask questions. Just go ahead and unmute your mic to be able to ask questions. Until then, though, if you are not speaking, if everybody could make sure to mute themselves, that'll make sure we are, can have a good meeting tonight. So, okay, our topic tonight is using essential oils to deal with pain and kind of managing that pain. So I want you to just take a moment for just self-inventory. This is not something you're going to turn into anybody. I just want you to be thinking for yourself, where are you on a scale of 1 to 10 with pain for yourself? And we want you to be thinking about this so that as you do start finding more options that are helpful for you, that you can have kind of a baseline to work off of. So chronic pain, one would be, hey, I don't really have any chronic pain. 10 is this is constantly a problem and my pain is intense all the time. I can hardly bear it. Emotional pain, this is something that is very much in this pain category as well. Again, 1, not a huge problem, but 10 is it's debilitating. And then occasional pain. Are you having some, where's that pain from day to day? How are you dealing with that? Okay, so as you think about this, I also wanted to play a video for you. This video is really helpful in just being able to understand the background of pain, because I tended to think in the past that pain was just you have cells that are being damaged and those cells give messages to your brain, and that's what pain is. But it is so much more than that. So I'm going to play just a few minutes of this to give us a little bit of background understanding, I guess. And can everybody hear this? Can somebody give me a thumbs up that yes, you can hear it?
In 1995, the British Medical Journal published an astonishing report about a 29-year-old builder. He accidentally jumped onto a 15-centimeter nail, which pierced straight through his steel-toed boot. He was in such agonizing pain that even the smallest movement was unbearable. But when the doctors took off his boot, they faced a surprising sight. The nail had never touched his foot at all. For hundreds of years, scientists thought that pain was a direct response to damage. By that logic, the more severe an injury is, the more pain it should cause. But as we've learned more about the science of pain, we've discovered that pain and tissue damage don't always go hand in hand, even when the body's threat signaling mechanisms are fully functioning. We're capable of experiencing severe pain out of proportion to an actual injury, and even pain without any injury, like the builder, or the well-documented cases of male partners of pregnant women experiencing pain during the pregnancy or labor. What's going on here? There are actually two phenomena at play: the experience of pain and a biological process called nociception. Nociception is part of the nervous system's protective response to harmful or potentially harmful stimuli. Sensors in specialized nerve endings detect mechanical, thermal, and chemical threats. If enough sensors are activated, electrical signals shoot up the nerve to the spine and onto the brain. The brain weighs the importance of these signals and produces pain if it decides the body needs protection. Typically, pain helps the body avoid further injury or damage, but there are a whole set of factors besides nociception that can influence the experience of pain and make pain less useful. First, there are biological factors that amplify nociceptive signals to the brain. If nerve fibers are activated repeatedly, the brain may decide they need to be more sensitive to adequately protect the body from threats. More stress sensors can be added to nerve fibers until they become so sensitive that even light touches to the skin spark intense electrical signals. In other cases, nerves adapt to send signals more efficiently, amplifying the message. These forms of amplification are most common in people experiencing chronic pain, which is defined as pain lasting more than 3 months. When the nervous system is nudged into an ongoing state of high alert, pain can outlast physical injury. This creates a vicious cycle in which the longer pain persists, the more difficult it becomes to reverse. Psychological factors clearly play a role in pain too, potentially by influencing nociception and by influencing the brain directly. A person's emotional state, memories, beliefs about pain, and expectations about treatment can all influence how much pain they experience. In one study, children who reported believing that they had no control over pain actually experienced more intense pain than those who believed they had some control.
Okay, we're going to stop right there. I hope that that gave you a good idea of thinking about pain in a different way, that it's not just the actual event itself, but it's how our body also reacts to that. So both the nerves and how they respond to those cells, and also how our body interprets that, how our brain interprets that. There's also places in our spinal cord that act as gateways to pain. So not only is it just the peripheral nervous system, but also both the spinal cord and the brain as a part of the central nervous system that are interpreting that pain. So think about where you're at. If you are experiencing pain, is this a short-term pain that you're dealing with? Or are you in a chronic pain situation where you're dealing with kind of this vicious cycle of feeling pain more intensely and more frequently than you should? Okay, so while we're talking about definitions and thinking about things, I want to talk about inflammation as well. Frequently, we kind of pair these two together, pain and inflammation. Well, they're not the same thing, although they do frequently go together. But here's what inflammation is. So inflammation is actually just a normal response for our immune system when it is stimulated for some reason. And that stimuli can be lots of different things, right? This can be an external event. It can be an internal event. It's anytime that your body says, there's something wrong that we need to fix. And so inflammation, it's all about responding to that stimulus and being able to create balance in your body again. So inflammation can be a very good thing, just like pain, right? There's a reason our body feels pain. We're trying to make sure that we are protecting our body. Well, same with inflammation. There is a reason for that inflammation. It is a normal inflammatory response is very important, very healthy. It's when we have a chronic inflammatory response that we have problems. Okay, so think of it like this. Let's say that somebody broke into your house and started like tearing things down, right? You very much want to be able to call the police. You want to be able to call in people that are going to repair things, and stopping the threat and being able to repair are really important. But what if those police and those construction workers lived in your house from then on out? They never went away. Well, that would be a problem, right? So same deal with chronic inflammation. What can start out as a very good, very important response can be very problematic if it doesn't go away. Chronic inflammation can cause not just pain, but it can actually be degrading organs in our body and causing them to be damaged. So that's when we're talking about inflammation today, we're not going to be talking about, hey, we want to get rid of inflammation that is a positive response. We're talking about getting rid of chronic inflammation, which can be very problematic. Okay, so also, as we're talking about doTERRA today, I want you to be thinking about doTERRA as a tool. It is not everything that is ever needed to be able to take care of pain or anything else with our bodies, right? doTERRA essential oils are these natural incredible natural solutions to be able to help with pain, be able to help our body to be healthy. But it is not the only tool in our toolbox. And I'm going to be mentioning things along the way as well. But I hope that you will be using essential oils and the supplements hand in hand with things like, and we're going to be talking about nutrition, right? Nutrition and exercise and stretching and all of these things that are going to help our body to be able to both prevent and respond to pain. Okay, so we're also, as we talk about this, we're going to be talking about a couple of different aspects with the pain. So the pain, of course, is a response to something. And so we're going to be talking about being able to reduce the actual pain itself, but we also want to talk about what's at the core. How do we prevent pain in the first place? And how do we address the root cause when we're experiencing it? So that's where we are going to start. We're going to start in talking about kind of the root cause. Hopefully, if you guys have been to several of these wellness classes, I hope you have seen this before. This wellness pyramid is something that doTERRA uses a lot to talk about how we're going to address things with our bodies. Notice the biggest thing, the core foundation is eating right and exercise and weight management. So let's talk about then rest in managing stress and reducing our toxic load. These are going to be the first keys to being able to address the core reasons behind a lot of our pain. So eating right. Our diet has this huge effect on the way that we feel and the pain that we feel in our bodies. So remember in the video, it talked about how our bodies can amplify that pain. Sometimes that amplification comes as a part of the inflammation that's going on in our body. And a lot of that happens, a lot of this chronic inflammation comes from the things that we're eating. We hear a lot talking about our gut health, right? We've been talking, you hear that both in doTERRA and just across the board in society, we're recognizing how important having good gut health is for all aspects, including pain. So that is probably the biggest key for all of us as we are trying to prevent it and address the core issues, making sure that we have good gut health. And that comes down to our diet. Are you eating fruits and vegetables that you need to? Are you staying away from inflammatory foods like sugar? I know it's so frustrating. The ones that we want to eat, right? Those are the ones that cause all the problems in our bodies. So the sugar, all the refined carbohydrates, all the whites, right? The white rice and the white flours, all of those cause so many problems for our bodies. So dairy, unfortunately, I love dairy. I love cheese. I love ice cream. My body does not love these things so much. Our bodies. So when we're talking about healthy foods, like these fruits and these vegetables, healthy meats and such, our body knows how to use the compounds that are in those foods. It recognizes them and says, aha, I know what to do with these. Well, when we have foods that we're not supposed to be eating, they have compounds that our body doesn't recognize. And so our body starts attacking these foods and starts attacking our own body. And thus we have a lot of problems with things like autoimmune, and we just have all these inflammation problems, largely because of the things that we're eating. So start there. But unfortunately, having a really good diet these days is just not enough, because so much of our food is nutritionally deficient. And so this is where doTERRA starts to step in here, is that we have the ability to supplement that with some really, really great supplements to our nutrition. So hopefully you guys are already familiar with the Lifelong Vitality Pack. So this includes these 3 bottles that are down here at the bottom: the Alpha CRS, the Z Omega, and the Microplex VMZ, excuse me. So these kind of set a nutritional foundation for our bodies. So here's what I mean. If our bodies need certain things to be able to repair and to, help our bodies so we're not in so much pain, but we don't actually have those things in our body, regardless of what we do, how well we stretch, how well we exercise, if we don't have the compounds our body needs, we're still going to be in pain. We're still going to be lacking what we need. So this kind of is your foundation for good nutrition across the board, and a great way to be able to help with your gut health. So in combination with this, and I don't have a picture of these, but guys, I hope we're going to be talking about a lot of things today. So make sure you pull out some paper, pen, or taking notes on your computer or whatever, because you're going to be hopefully hearing things tonight that you are going to remind you of, oh my goodness, this is something I need to work on, or this is something that Ken's got his pen and paper out. Awesome. This is something that, my husband needs, or my friend needs, or my sister needs. So many of us are dealing with pain. So start with that lifelong vitality. The next thing I would recommend is two things that really help with your gut health is going to be Terrazyme and PB Assist. Okay, Terrazyme, these are food enzymes. They help your body to be able to digest food properly. Did you know that a lot of our gut health problems come because we are not digesting our foods properly? Yeah, it's those processed foods again that are all the problem, right? And nutritionally deficient foods. So having food enzymes is going to help be able to break those down like they're supposed to and repair the gut. Then PB Assist, this is the probiotics and prebiotics. This is going to help our bodies to be able to kind of build up that really good gut flora. As we need to not just get rid of the bad, right? We need to have the good in there as well. So, those are a really great place to start as you're looking at your nutrition. Also, we're going to talk a lot about like joint pain and muscle pain today. So much of that has to do with our exercise and our weight management. And we don't have time to get into that in depth today. That's kind of a whole nother topic, but just recognize that our body we're affected by a lot of different things. If your weight is an issue, that is something that you're going to really want to address. If that's causing problems with your knees or your hips or, inflammation throughout your body, don't forget to address that as well. Things like sleep, all of that. Again, these are a little bit broader than we can talk about today. We're going to focus specifically on how to address the pain. But please recognize that these are things that are going to really affect the core of why you're feeling the pain. All right, so going back to lifelong vitality, this is how it supports different types of pain. So for the chronic pain, it is going to help respond to the oxidative stress in your body. It's going to give the nutrients that your bones need and your joints need as well. So especially the Z-omegas. So the Z-omegas have your alpha omega oils in them. These are so important for your joint health. If you're somebody that has a lot of chronic pain, be looking at including more omega oils in your diet. So you might even choose, if you are already taking the lifelong vitality and pain is still an issue for you, I would look at increasing the amount of the omegas that you are taking, because that is going to help so much with your pain levels and especially in the way that your nerves amplify and express pain. It helps to calm down those nerves and have them to be able have them function a little more normally. Okay, talking about emotional pain. The lifelong vitality also is going to help with your mental clarity and your brain function. Again, those omega-3 fatty acids in there are going to be really important for your gut and cognitive support. Okay, so for occasional pain, it's going to give your body the minerals, the foundation that you need to be able to repair and protect your body in the future. Okay, just a quick word about pain medication. Pain medication, whether it is prescribed or over-the-counter medication, if we're talking about synthetic things here, there's all kinds of problems. And we're becoming more and more familiar with those, right? The opioids just have this incredible addictive element to them, and they literally destroy your liver. Okay, if you are on long-term opioids, you are going to be causing liver failure down the road. This is not a viable option for many, many, many years. You're going to need to find something different because it is destroying your liver as you speak. So same with NSAIDs. There's all sorts of problems with it. Things like Tylenol and aspirin that we quote unquote think are safe, right? They are causing lots of problems with our body. So be considering that as you are looking at your own pain management. We're not saying that these things, sometimes they become, you can't go off of them right away, right? All just cold turkey. In some cases, this isn't going to be a matter of changing, getting your body to heal over time and being able to change the way you are handling things. So if you are dealing with chronic pain and you are on especially prescription medications, work with your doctor on this. I guarantee your doctor wants to help you get off these pain medications. And if you can find good ways of doing that, using natural products, make that a part of the plan, but create a plan to be able to get off of them. Okay. That was a lot of background, guys. Let's talk more specifically about, all right, different types of pain and what doTERRA has that is going to be able to help them. Because isn't it great when people just say things like, oh my goodness, you shouldn't be taking opioids, you shouldn't be taking these pain medications, and yet they have no kind of way of helping. Like, it's assuming that that's just in your head, that the pain you can just deal with it. Well, we need an alternative. We need a way to really address the pain. And here's our top things. You should know that there are lots of different options among essential oils with dealing with pain. Our earth was created with incredible plant options for dealing with everything, including pain. And so this is not an exhaustive list by any means, but these are some of the top things. And we're going to be talking about more things that aren't listed here as well. Okay, so let's start with talking about joint pain, and let's understand joint pain a little bit. Okay, so our joints have this articular cartilage around the bone to be able to protect the bone. We tend to think of bone like it is this really hard substance that wouldn't be able to feel pain, but bone is a living tissue. It has lots of blood that goes to it. It has nerve endings that go to it. And when it needs to be protected, because if that bone is not protected, say we have bone on bone, right? Our bones can actually bleed. Our bones can be bruised, and our bones feel all that pain, and all of that pain is relayed up to our brains. We feel the pain from our bones. So that articular cartilage, so it is right in between. It surrounds kind of the ends of our bones, so to protect them. And that articular cartilage is supposed to be smooth. It's supposed to be a little bit flexible so that it can protect them. Well, what happens is if that articular cartilage is worn down or damaged in some way, all of a sudden it wears down, and our bones start feeling that pain. So protecting that articular cartilage is important. Now, that articular cartilage can be broken down in several different ways. One of the ways is it can be broken down through inflammation, chronic inflammation. So this would be something like rheumatoid arthritis would be a good example of that, right? Where we just have this incredible inflammation throughout our body, and it slowly wears down that articular cartilage. Well, we can also wear down articular cartilage through, things like just wear and tear. Just getting older, maybe we've had an injury to that particular area. Maybe we've had, just mechanical stress. Maybe you do a lot of manual labor, and are putting more stress on those particular joints. Or maybe you are carrying more weight than your body should have, and you're causing more stress on your joints because of that. So lots of different reasons that cause that. But our bodies are meant to deal with a certain amount of stress. So our body literally there are things in our body that are helping to regenerate this articular cartilage throughout our life. The problem is when that gets out of balance, right? It's more damage is happening than regeneration is happening. And so we want to, when we're talking about joint pain, right, we want to do a couple of things. One, we want to address the pain itself that we're feeling from the damage that's already there. And we really want to work on improving and helping our body to regenerate. Now, everybody's going to be a little bit different in its ability to regenerate. Age is definitely going to play a factor, but also is our general health. Things like diabetes play a big factor in our body's ability to regenerate. So the better health we are in, just generally, the better our bodies are going to do with that. But let's address a couple of things here. So a couple of ones that are great for helping with joint pain. So top one for pain across the board is Deep Blue, right? Deep Blue is going to, if you are having pain, like this should be the number one thing on your list. Just write it down. You want Deep Blue, and it comes in different forms. Okay. Deep Blue can come as a rub, which means that it is in a lotion form. And we tend to use this a lot. It's easy to be able to spread on hands, on feet, on hips, wherever, on backs. It also comes, so Deep Blue in its pure form, right, is just the oil. And it's a blend of different essential oils that together are fantastic for helping with muscle and joint pain. So you can get it as the oil, you can get it as the Deep Blue rub, which is the lotion. It also now comes in a stick. So, and it is combined in that stick, it's combined with Copaiba. And we're going to be talking more about Copaiba in just a minute. Super helpful for inflammation. So having them joined together is really helpful. And the stick form is nice. If you are trying to put it on your own back, trying to rub it yourself is difficult if you're putting it on your own back, or if you don't want the Deep Blue on your hands, right? So Deep Blue, awesome for just helping that pain element in your joints and muscle. It's very relieving in the way that it feels, and it generally lasts for hours. So then also turmeric. Probably most of us have heard of turmeric at some point. A lot of doctors recommend it to their patients as a supplement to be able to help with inflammation. It is super anti-inflammatory. And here's what's cool about doTERRA's turmeric. So turmeric, doTERRA's is a dual chamber capsule. So it has both the curcumin powder and the turmeric oil in it. Both come from the same plant. And funny thing, right? When we use them together, they work so much better. So they found that when they use them together, both the powder and the oil together, that it's 7 times more effective and just is incredible for our bodies. So turmeric, if you suspect that inflammation is a part of your pain issues, I highly recommend the turmeric. Okay. So we got Deep Blue, we got turmeric. Then there's the Deep Blue polyphenol complex. Okay, so polyphenols, so are just compounds that are just different organic compounds that are in the foods that we eat. So like anything else, right? doTERRA's products are all natural. So you look at what is in this polyphenol complex, and it's things like frankincense and these different oils that are going to help your body to deal with inflammation and deal with the pain. So this one is I have a lot of people ask whether, which one should they take? The polyphenol complex? Should I be doing the rub? Should I be doing the oil? Really, you just want to think about how things are affecting you, right? If you're talking about your pain is almost always localized in very specific areas. I would look at more addressing it from directly. So something like the Deep Blue Rub or the Deep Blue Oil. If you have more of a systemic pain, you have these aches and pains that are regularly throughout your body, that is where you're going to want to look more at the polyphenol complex. Another way to think about this as well is kind of sandwiching things. So you may try something topically and it may not be getting it done for you, right? You may still be having more pain than you want. Maybe you do both topically and taking it internally. Kind of sandwich them and use them together in different ways. Okay, so Ken asked, what's the best way to use Deep Blue, direct or in a carrier oil? So that's a really, really good question, Ken. So if you are not, so the Deep Blue Rub is already in a carrier lotion, right? It's not a carrier oil like the fractionated coconut oil, but it does allow it to help it to be able to stay in your tissues more directly. When we're talking about pain, and especially using Deep Blue, and if you're just using the oil, I would recommend using a carrier oil like fractionated coconut oil, though you can use other carrier oils as well. The reason I would recommend that is because it's going to help it stay directly in those tissues longer. So essential oils are aromatic, right? That's why we smell them. But what that means is those compounds are literally jumping into the air as soon as they hit the air. And so when we're putting them on our skin, a lot of those compounds are going into the air unless we're using a carrier oil to help them stay in those tissues. So considering what the purpose of Deep Blue is, I would say most of the time you want to be using a carrier oil with that. Really, really good question. Okay. I don't have this on the screen, but I'm going to give you some things to consider when you're trying to look at how do I repair and regenerate some of this damage that has been done. Let me again reiterate, this is not, our bodies have different ability to be able to regenerate and repair. Even doing the very best things, your body may be a little bit further along and not able to repair those things. So the earlier you can jump on things when they're a problem, the better your body will do. So with that caveat, here's what I recommend for repair. So lemongrass, so excellent at repairing any connective tissue. Okay, lavender, yarrow palm, and frankincense. All of these are really great when it comes to repairing and regenerating. Okay, so maybe doing something, maybe you are addressing both the pain side of things, and then you are also addressing and helping your body to regenerate and repair. Don't forget to do, I would definitely include the lifelong vitality with that. Again, I know we keep harping on this, but it really is so foundational in helping your body have what it needs to be able to repair and regenerate and all of those things. Okay, so let's move on to muscle pain. Muscle pain is a little bit different from just the joint pain, right? You can have direct muscle pain, like you actually strained a muscle, or you can have indirect muscle pain. The one that I wanted to address with muscle pain is back pain. That's something that we either experience or hear about quite a bit. So back pain, again, can be direct or indirect, but a lot of times that back pain is coming because there's other issues going on. We have a lot going on in our backs. We've got muscles and tendons and ligaments and our discs and our bones and the joints there. And all of them can have issues, things from like a bulging disc, or you can have a pinched nerve, or you can actually have inflammation in the joints there. So all of those things, if there are issues in your back, a lot of times they're creating an inflammatory response, right? Because it's trying to heal it. Your body's trying to heal itself. Well, in our back, remember that our spinal column, right? It has all these discs and all these this is where all of our nerves come into our spinal cord so it can go up to our brain. So it has lots of nerve connections that are right there next to the bones and the discs. And so when things are going wrong and there's this inflammatory response, our nerves are right there feeling it. And so a lot of that, the problems and the pain come from this inflammation there. And then as our nerves are inflamed and we have all this response, our muscles feel it as well. And our muscles tighten up right around there. A lot of us have experienced those really super tight muscles through our back and back spasms, things like that. So we need to address this in a couple different ways. And first of all, we need to address that muscle pain, because like if you've ever had back spasms, there's pretty much nothing else you can think about until that back spasm is taken care of. So things like Deep Blue, again, is going to be your like really good friend here. I also want to talk about Copaiba in this regard. So Copaiba, we talked about it's anti-inflammatory. It is one of the most anti-inflammatory substances on earth. It's amazing. So being able to compare it with the Deep Blue is great. Copaiba also comes in a couple of different forms. Copaiba comes just as the oil, right? And the oil, so Copaiba is a tree from Brazil. So the oil comes from that tree, and you can use it direct, just as the oil. I like to mix it in with the Deep Blue rub is a great way to do it. Or you can do it with some fractionated coconut oil, or they also have it in a soft gel. So it makes it really easy to take internally. So those ones are both great for being able to address the muscle pain. Again, the turmeric, we're just addressing that inflammation that's causing so many problems with the muscle pain. But again, this is, use the other tools in front of you. Make sure you're doing things like, hot pads and cold compresses, and switch off with those. When you're able to calm things down a little bit, then incorporate the stretching. So many so much of our muscle pain in especially our low back, has to do with muscles that run down through our legs. So don't just look at stretching your back, look at stretching your quads too. So especially if you do a lot of sitting and your lower back pain is connected to, maybe you're feeling that a lot because you're sitting too much, spend some time stretching your quads, and you're going to stretch out a lot of those muscles. You think, oh my goodness, the muscles are just connected in my leg. No. They go up through your pelvic bone and attach to your lower back. And this is where a lot of that lower back problem comes from. So, Jody, thank you. Hamstrings. So both your, so your hamstrings are going to play a part. But a lot of times you also have your
quads are for hip flexors and pulling the anterior. Hamstrings are usually glute and lower back issues.
You also have your I'm gonna get this. Is it your psoas muscle? It goes up through.
Yeah, that's lateral too. It's a little side muscle.
Yeah.
It's a little skin muscle.
So point being, guys, I am clearly, I am not a doctor, nor am I a physical therapist. So,
okay.
So just make sure you're stretching your leg muscles. This is going to help a lot with your lower back pain. 100%. So just stretching your back in general. Jody, was there anything else you wanted to add with that? Because any comments you heard would be great.
Yeah, and feet. Making sure that you wear the right shoes to make sure that you're having good arch support, because it starts from the bottom and works its way up to pain. And so having good shoes for arch support keeps your knees alignment, which keeps your femur in alignment, which keeps your hips in alignment. And if those are all crazy, our lower back is going to scream at us.
Yes. Thank you very much for jumping in and adding that. Okay. Also, I wanted to suggest marjoram. I know that this is one that you go, marjoram and basil. Yes, you can cook with them. But yes, did you know that they are super great in helping with pain too? So this is a good one to include. Okay, this one isn't mentioned here, but I wanted to address nerve pain. So, and this can be things like a pinched nerve, but it also can be very overactive nerves. So like fibromyalgia would probably fall into this category. Now, fibromyalgia, there is so much talk about what actually the causes are behind it, but certainly regardless of what the causes are behind it, certainly it's a problem in the way that our body, our nerves are delivering pain signals. So when we're talking about pain, nerve pain here, let's talk about things that can help calm those down. So a few things will help it directly. So again, Deep Blue, like I told you, Deep Blue is going to be your biggest friend when it comes to pain. So frankincense again, and basil. So, and you're going to hear us mention things again and again, like Deep Blue, we're going to mention again very frequently. Frankincense, we're going to mention very frequently. So if you're making a list of like top things, again, mark frankincense as one that is going to be really helpful for you. And then as far as calming down nerves, so copaiba also falls in this, is really great in this sphere. But the biggest thing that is going to help you with that is helping kind of your general health with things. So again, going back to the lifelong vitality, with those extra omega fatty acids, the Terrazyme, the PB Assist, and then another one I would recommend here is called DDR Prime, and this is their cellular complex, is doTERRA's cellular complex, and it's going to help your cells, including your nerve cells, to be able to function like they are supposed to. Has frankincense in it. We love frankincense, and it's going to help calm things down. Okay. So, all right, then digestive pain. If anybody has ever had like massive digestive pain, again, this is one that like, if that's a problem, you can't think about anything else. Nothing else can happen until that is resolved. So, background things keep coming up again and again, right? Terrazyme and PB Assist are going to be huge in helping with digestive pain and preventing that long term. I wanted to mention a real standout here is Digestin. So Digestin is an essential oil blend that has all these really great things for your digestive system, peppermint and ginger and cardamom and just fabulous plants that help with your digestive system. And this is one that works really fast. So if you're in a lot of pain with digestive issues, you definitely want this one on board. You can either rub it directly on your abdomen, or you can, my favorite way to do it actually is to take just one drop under my tongue, because putting things under your tongue, it gets into your body so quickly. But Digestin, not everybody loves the taste of it, just fair warning. It's kind of like black licorice in the way that it tastes. It's the fennel in it, I think, that causes that. But it does come in soft gels. If that is you and you want to make use of the Digestin, but you don't like the taste, they do have soft gels. Amanda just wrote, my little boy just barely had bad lower abdominal pain, and Digestin with lotion helped him in less than 5 minutes. Awesome. I know, I love Digestin. Okay, in here, there's also a blend specifically for young children. It's called Tamer, and really great. It comes as a roller bottle, just a good blend for little children, although you can use Digestin for little ones, even the smallest little ones. Just use a little bit less, use it with fractionated coconut oil. Then the last one I wanted to mention in the sphere is enteric coated peppermint. It's a little bit different than just peppermint essential oil. It has an enteric coating to it. And enteric coated peppermint is something that they've done lots of research on, and the way that it affects IBS. So if you are somebody who is struggling with IBS, enteric coated peppermint should be on your list, because just go do a Google search for enteric coated peppermint, research on that with IBS. There's tons of research out there. It is fabulous. And of course, with doTERRA, you have these really pure products. So it's a great form of enteric coated peppermint for you. Okay. Let's talk about headaches and migraines. This is another one that a lot of people struggle with. And this is one where we're going to have a lot of different options to choose from. And here's why, because headaches are kind of, they're just connected to so many different sources. There's so many reasons why we have a headache. That's a better way of saying it. Or those migraines. So you're going to want to address the root causes. Okay. So start with a lifelong vitality. A lot of times that is going to do the work for you in preventing those. Make sure you are drinking lots and lots of water. And this is true for easing pain across the board. Lots of water. A great way to help with that is by putting one of your favorite citrus oils, a few drops of that in your water. You're going to like the taste better, number one, but it's also going to help your body to deal with that pain a little bit better, be able to be getting rid of those toxins, which can be causing a source of that pain as well. Okay, so, but there's ones that are great in helping in this area. Frankincense is one. Again, I know, frankincense. Copaiba is another. Heather has this really great story, and I don't think she is on. No, I'm not seeing her on here today, but so I'm not going to do this justice, but essentially she has been working with a gentleman who has had severe head pain, unrelenting pain in his head for a long, long period of time. And they just couldn't find anything that helped with it. And Copaiba was the one thing that helped. And he had tried different things. She had tried different oils with him, and she'd like swipe it across his forehead, and he was just in so much pain. And she was like, I do not want to cause this pain. But he wanted her to keep trying with different things. And as soon as she put on that Copaiba, it was what his body needed. And it relieved that pain for the first time. And I think he was struggling with it. Please correct me, somebody, if you know this. I know, Julie, you've heard the story. I think he was struggling for years with this.
Like 10 years.
Okay, thank you. So play with these oils a little bit. Try different ones. If something is not working for you, it's not because essential oils don't work, right? It's just because you haven't found the right thing yet. So you can mix them. Feel free to do different mixes with essential oils. It's not like pharmaceutical medications, right? Where you have to be really careful about what you take with what. Essential oils are meant to work together for our bodies. Our bodies know how to use them. You can put them in roller bottles. You can just mix them up in your hand. You can mix them in capsules. It is fine. You can do any mixes you want to. Past Tense is already a blend that they put together. This one is, a lot of people, this is their kind of the key for them. Eucalyptus is not one that I use a whole lot. The one that I would say is kind of a very basic starting place. It is inexpensive, and it's in, a lot of people already have that on hand, is peppermint. That is always my go-to when I have a headache. You're just going to put that oil wherever that pain is. So I will put it on around the back of my neck, or on my temples. You can put it behind your ears, across your forehead, wherever you're feeling that pain. That's where you want to put the oil. So whether it's frankincense or Copaiba or peppermint or Past Tense or a blend of them, those are all really great ones. Just put them on where that's hurting. Does anybody have, okay, people are starting to put in their recommendations. So Amanda said frankincense, lavender, and peppermint, just a 1:1:1 ratio on the back of the neck and around the forehead is a great headache relief. Great. Okay, peppermint, and Jody said peppermint and lavender have helped her friends' migraines. So peppermint is just fine during pregnancy. So you do have to be a little bit careful with peppermint when you are nursing. So it can reduce a little bit of that milk supply in some people. So you just have to watch it and be careful with that. But peppermint's not going to have any problems during pregnancy, and frankincense, there's no problem during pregnancy. So those are really, really good questions. Guys, I want to point out a couple of things. First of all, I hope everybody has some sort of reference book. Okay, it doesn't have to be this one. This one is my personal favorite. It's called The Essential Life. Super excellent. But you should have some sort of reference book, because it's going to give you lots of different ideas. And there's going to be lots of issues, whether it's pain or anything else that shows up that you need to figure out. And so having a reference guide like this, in the beginning, it goes through and you can look up your different ailments, and it'll recommend oils that you use. You can look up the specific oils and what they can be used for. And then usually there's special topic sections as well. Pain and inflammation is one of them. And they have lots of really great blends. They have migraine blends. They have, back pain blends, inflammation, reducing inflammation blends, things like that. All right, let's see what we have here. Before we move on with anything, any other questions? Actually, I think I saw one up here. Let me go back to it. Christine says, my mom has been dealing with inflammation in her hands. They're so swollen, they hurt her all the time. Oh, Christine, I'm so sorry. Your poor mom. I have her on Copaiba, Deep Blue, turmeric, and DDR Prime. I also have an oils roller made up for her, and it helps a little, but not much at all. What is something else I can try for her? Okay, first of all, you're doing a lot of really great things already. So I think somebody asked about Lifelong Vitality. If she is not on that, I would definitely recommend being on the Lifelong Vitality. And let's see, what else are we missing here? I would play around with some things, because you've hit the big ones already. You've done really, really great. I would try things that are maybe a little bit less common, things like marjoram or basil. Let's see what else here. Something like lemongrass in there might really help, and frankincense in there too. I guess the biggest thing, start experimenting a little bit. You've hit the big ones. Like, you have been amazing with your mom, but see if you can start experimenting with those a little bit. And then another thing that I would recommend actually is here. Okay, sometimes I don't know if you guys have had this experience before. If you haven't, you will at some point, where you're like, it's just not quite doing what I want. So you have a couple of different options there. Experiment with different oils, and then start. One of the keys with essential oils is just consistency. So make sure you're being consistent, but then see if you can address it a little bit more systemically. And there's a couple of great ways to do that incorporate essential oils with really healthy healing touch. So one of those is called Symphony of the Cells. And what this means is, essentially, this is a layering of different essential oils up the spine. It's really simple movements. All you're going to be doing is kind of doing these circles up the spine, and then rubbing the excess on your feet. Sometimes you're going to be smelling them as well. So they have one specifically. So there's this book, it's called Symphony of the Cells. It's not very expensive. It's like $12, something like that. You can order it. It has lots of different protocols for different issues. One of them is specifically on inflammation. So you start with frankincense, and then you use a carrier oil, and then you're using, so you just are layering on these different oils. So Melaleuca, that's another name for tea tree. Then wintergreen and birch, the massage blend, that's Aroma Touch. So you guys know. Lemongrass, white fir, or Siberian fir, Helichrysum, the soothing blend, that is your deep blue, and then peppermint, and you just layer those on, and it is a fantastic way to bring down that inflammation. Another option that I really love is there is a technique that's called AromaTouch technique. This is something that Dr. Hill, one of the founders in doTERRA, created, and he created this to be able to maximize the ability of the essential oils to be able to help our bodies heal. And one of the there's ways that AromaTouch helps I'm running out of words, helps the most in our bodies, and inflammation is one of them. So AromaTouch is, again, combining essential oils. So it's always the same 8 oils: Balance, Lavender, Tea Tree, On Guard, AromaTouch, Deep Blue, Wild Orange, and Peppermint, to help your body to heal. And you combine that with this really great healing touch. So it has a lot more movements to it. This is something that's a little bit more involved, but simple to be able to learn. If you have a chronic condition, so for instance, we are using this on my husband who has chronic fatigue and fibromyalgia, and we have been using essential oils for a while, helping him to heal. And we've seen quite a bit of healing with that, but it feels like it seems like his body needs more. It is not quite getting what it needs. And so we've been using, I've been doing AromaTouch on him now every single day for the last week. So this is the beginning of my experiment. I will get back to you guys later down the road, months from now, and tell you how this goes. But the AromaTouch, when I do it on him, the rest of the day, his pain is incredibly decreased. So going back to Christine, this might be something, I know that sounds a little bit counterintuitive to be putting things on, that putting things on your mom's back would be helping her hands, but truly you're clearly dealing with more systemic inflammation here. Try this out. See if this, again, there's lots of experiment here. This is something that might really, really help in doing that. Okay, let me see if I can catch up with some of the comments here. There's some great ideas for her. And Christine, you've already tried the Symphony of the Cells for her. Try the AromaTouch. Okay, so let me talk about how you guys can learn about AromaTouch. Also, the detox that was recommended here is a great way to go too. Guys, we are going to be talking more in the next upcoming months a lot about detox. Just so you know, that is on its way. It'll be coming as part of these wellness education classes. For AromaTouch specifically, connect with one of your leaders. So the person that has either enrolled you or uplined to you, and ask if they know how to do the AromaTouch technique, because the very best way to learn, honestly, is to receive it yourself and see what it's like, and then be able to see it demonstrated on somebody else. So see if you can set up a time where you get that experience yourself, and maybe you are, you have a friend or a family member with you that you can then see and learn how it is done. doTERRA sells this AromaTouch technique kit. So you can either get it as just the kit, or you can get it with they have an instruction course that goes with it. And you guys, I've done the instruction course. I'm certified doing the AromaTouch technique. It is totally worth it. So look into that if you are interested in it, or reach out to me. I am happy to help kind of guide you in figuring out that world and being able to learn about doing AromaTouch. Okay. We want to end with challenges for everybody this week. So here is my challenge for you. As you consider either your pain or the pain for a friend or a loved one, I want you to try something new this week. Okay, so we have these top ones that we tend to use a lot, things like Deep Blue and Copaiba and frankincense. So I challenge you to try something new. Find something that will be a little bit different for you. And then, so I will post this challenge on the Essential Oil Enthusiast group. If you don't know what that is, reach out to the person that invited you to this class, because we want everybody to be involved. This Essential Oil Enthusiast group is a group on Facebook, and this is a fabulous place to just ask questions about oils, learn what other people are doing. Every week when we do the wellness challenges, or the wellness education classes, we will post a challenge there as well. And you can get free, we'll do free things every once in a while. You want to be a part of this group. Okay. This is kind of the wrap up of talking about pain management. And we're going to spend a few minutes, for those of you who would like to, we're going to spend a few minutes talking about the doTERRA business and sharing doTERRA and what that looks like, both big and small. I had to tell you, so I have been using doTERRA for years, we're probably about 7 or 8 years down the road here. And I never wanted to have anything to do with the business for a really long time, until I was in one of these wellness education classes. And it was about a year and a half ago. And at the end of the class, they just talked about the business for a little bit. And I thought, I've got 5-10 minutes. And this is really simple, because I can hang in the background and I don't have to commit to anything. And nobody even has to know that I'm even here listening to this, but I want to see what all the hype is about. So I'm going to transition and talk about that. Are there any final questions before we leave the pain management piece? All right. Okay, when we're talking about,
I guess one question I'd have is, you have all these LLV and stuff for inflammation, all that, but when you got somebody that is in pain right now, and you need to show them some results to even ever get them to the point where they might buy all that, what do you do?
I would, that is a really good question, Ken. So I would sample them with just 1 or 2 things, okay? And have them do it frequently. So if you are giving them, say, for instance, if you are giving them some Deep Blue samples, make sure you tell them that they can use this as often as their body is ready for reapplication, right? Especially when we're talking about anything acute. One time may just not be enough for our bodies there. We may need more. And so doing it, you can do it as frequently as every 15 minutes if you need to. Now, normally, do we want to take essential oils every 15 minutes all day long, every day? No. That wouldn't be good for our bodies. But when we're dealing with an acute problem, you can do it really frequently. If you can go over, if it's such that they live close and you can go over and help them with that particular issue, you directly bring them the frankincense and see if it works. And then maybe you have some different options with you and you sit with them for 15 minutes or something, and then maybe try something new. If that didn't work, that's a great option. Or maybe if you are have learned how to do the aroma touch technique, maybe you offer to come over and do that for them to help. But if you can, the more you can actually help them experience it and especially if you can be there so you can try different things and help make sure that it's a really positive experience for them and help them find the right thing. That's a really great way to go.
So you think you should try 2 or 3 items at one sitting before, or you leave them one and let them try it for a few days and come back and try another one? I mean, that's kind of.
Depends on what it is, right? And what sort of distance you're talking about. So if you are having to mail it to somebody, I would definitely send, I would send 2 options at least. So because there's so much time going back and forth with mailing. If you can be there in person, I would just do, and depending on what the issue is, some things like headaches, right, that can resolve, you can see pretty quickly if something helps. So, see if you can help them there in the moment. If it's something that it's going to take a little bit more time over a period of days, maybe I would just leave them with 1 or 2 options. I wouldn't go to 3. The more things we it can be a little bit overwhelming when we have too many options, if that makes sense. So start with one or two and go from there. Did that help, Ken? Did I
Well,
give
yeah,
you too many
it
options?
does. It does. I mean, we're talking about people with like back pain, herniated discs, sciatica, stuff like this.
Yeah,
And
if you're dealing with that, honestly, I'd start with Copaiba and Deep Blue and see how they respond to those.
okay. I gave her some of Deep Blue oil and the carrier oil, and that didn't help.
Okay,
I think
Then-
I gave her Copaiba, that didn't help.
okay. Then it's time to start looking at other things like, maybe the marjoram would be helpful here, or
And what, what runs into another problem is, we need sometimes you need the poor man's package, not,
yeah,
some of these, some of them can't afford the $150 a month or whatever to keep it up right now.
yeah. When I'm looking at the book, honestly, I'll look things up in my book and I'll start with whatever I have on hand, right? If what I have is the best oil there is to use. And then from there, I go with the cheaper options, right? If I'm looking at, peppermint might help, but helichrysum might also help. Well, peppermint's really inexpensive and helichrysum's pretty expensive. And so I'll go with the least expensive option and just start experimenting that way with the least expensive options first. Okay, as far as how often you can do Symphony of the Cells or AromaTouch, you can do them. You can do them every day if you need to, and then pull back from that as you don't need, as things get better. But I'm doing them every day on my husband right now. I talked to Justin Harrison about it last week. He said, oh yeah, you can do it. If you love your husband enough, you can do it do the AromaTouch technique on him every day. So, okay. See if there's any other things. Okay. With that, I am going to jump into then what it is like to share doTERRA essential oils. So, doTERRA essential oils, the doTERRA business is amazing. I have to say, and it's a little bit different. When I got started with this, a lot of it took me thinking about the way that I earn income for my family a little bit differently than I had ever thought about it before. So here's a story for you. We hear it a lot in doTERRA, but it's an important way to think about the way that we earn income. So there was a man who earned money for his family by hauling buckets of water to his village. So that's what he did all day, every day. He was hauling buckets of water, and water is super important, and it was a good living for him, except for the fact that if he was sick or he wanted to take a vacation or something was going on with his family and he couldn't or didn't want to work, he wasn't earning money for that time. He only earned money when he spent his time and his energy to be able to go bring these buckets of water. Well, one day he decided that this wasn't a good long-term solution for him. He wanted to build a pipeline and bring that water directly to him. And so he, during the day, was hauling buckets, right? He still needed to provide for his family, but during the evening, he was building this pipeline. And slowly over time, he built this pipeline. And the day that he turned on that spigot, everything changed for him. It became a recurring income. No longer did he, if he wanted to take a vacation, that was fine. He just needed to have somebody turn on the spigot, right? He was still earning money for that water. If he was sick, that was fine. He could still earn money because he had built this pipeline. And the way that we earn money is like that, right? Frequently, most of us have a job where we are trading our hours for the income. This is like hauling buckets, right? This is where I've spent most of my my adult life in earning an income, is in this hauling buckets category. Maybe you actually have your own small business, and instead of It being you're doing it for somebody else, you aren't doing it for yourself, but you're still in that category of trading your time for being able to earn money. And this isn't a bad thing. There's lots of really great jobs, and especially in different parts in our lives, maybe that's the right place for you at that point. But at some point, we don't want to just be creating something for somebody else. We want to be able to create something better. We want to be able to have a pipeline or a residual income. Well, enter doTERRA. doTERRA is all about you being able to create a residual income for yourself. So I thought erroneously that doTERRA was just kind of a side gig, right? You could earn a little bit, you can earn a little bit to pay for your oils, and it can be. If you chose that that's what you wanted, you could earn just enough to be able to help with things. But doTERRA can be so much more. It can not only be able to provide a full-time income to provide everything for your family, it can provide much, much more. And it does it in a way that it becomes a residual income. So let me show you a chart of what that can actually look like. When I saw this, this was the big light bulb moment for me when I was looking at this, because I want you to look at these numbers. These are not yearly income. This is monthly income. And that's not impressive when you're looking at when somebody is very first beginning, right? This is them just starting to lay their first parts of the pipe. And it's not very much, but that builds and it continues to build over time. And then by the time you're looking at like gold, it's a pretty dang good start, right? Right around that platinum diamond area, this is where people go, yes, I can provide for my family, full time. I can retire from other things. And then you get up into these ranks of blue diamond and presidential diamond that are amazing. Can you imagine making $109,000 a month? That's still not within my realm of comprehension, but a couple of things to point out in this chart. At the bottom is the average months that it takes to be able to build that and achieve that. So, and these ranks really are right on. So in 3 to 6 months, you can build up to elite and premier and be able to pay for your oils, plus maybe you're helping with a car payment, or your child wants to do dance lessons or soccer or something like that. So Amanda asked a question: how many people really make it to diamond and beyond? I wish I had another chart on here. That was one of my big questions, Amanda, when I thought, okay, but is it just, we all know those people that are like just powerhouses and they can be successful at anything, right? Like they're the CEOs of businesses and they are just like A+ personality power people that just accomplish amazing things. And I love that. But not all of us are those people. And my question was, could I succeed at doing doTERRA? And there is a chart that I do not have with me. However, it goes through and looks at just one team in doTERRA. So the team that we are on is under Natalie and Andy Goddard. They are presidential diamonds and then some. And they have this gigantic team under them, but they are just one team. They're just one portion of doTERRA. And every month they have people who are ranking up to these different levels. So they'll have hundreds of people that'll rank up to elite. Right now, so every month they have people ranking up to diamond just on their team. So right now there are over 100 people who are presidential diamond. And granted, this company, remember, has only existed for 14 years. There are several hundred who are in the blue diamond category, and there are thousands that are in the diamond category. So, and what's cool is I've met a lot of these people, and they're great people, but they're normal people, most of them. And I look at them and I think, I can do that. That could be me. I'm kind of a normal person. And this is something that I can accomplish. And what made them successful is that they stuck with it. They just kept going. They decided that this was going to be how they provided, they decided they were going to build that pipeline for themselves, and they were able to accomplish it. So imagine if that, going back to that story, if that man had gotten tired of laying pipes, and he got about halfway done and said, I'm done, I'm out. Like, I'm so tired of building pipe, and look, it's not helping me at all. Well, it's because he hadn't built the whole thing. So doing a doTERRA business takes work. It truly takes work. I am not telling you that this is an easy thing. It is not. This is not fast money either. This is a business that you build. But that said, so for instance, it takes 71 months on average to be able to get up to Presidential Diamond. You guys, that's just shy of 6 years. Okay. So I want you to think of your last 6 years and look at your 6 years in front of you. What is your life going to look like in 6 years from now if you keep doing what you're doing? And that isn't necessarily a bad thing, but are things going to change? Are you going to have created something really big and really lasting for yourself? For me, when I looked at that, I thought in 6 years, so I can tell you, I was working before I started doing doTERRA as a business, I was working as a professional genealogist. It was a really great job. I worked for a really great company, but I looked at my future, and 6 years from now, I'd be doing about the same thing with the same amount of stress. It was very stressful, making about the same amount of money. And I wanted to create something more. Those 6 years, they're going to go fast. I look at the last 6 years, that was really fast. These 6 years, I know is going to be fast. At the end of that, what do I want to have created? And I can tell you, I want to create this. I want to create a life where I can be free from the stress of being able to worry all the time about being able to provide for my family. I want to be able to have a life where I can make choices about what my family does, because based on what is good and right and what is needed, and not based on what I can actually afford to do, because I have financial options, and I want to be able to have a life where I not only am being able to provide for my family, but then I actually have time to spend with them. Because doesn't it always seem like the trade-off? You have money or you have time, and it's very difficult to have both of them. Well, that's what a doTERRA business can do for you, is help you to be able to provide for, to be able to create both of them. Marie just asked if she can pay me to do her genealogy. Sorry, not doing genealogy anymore right now, Marie. But I would love to help you to figure out how to do your own, because genealogy is awesome. But you guys, this is what creating a doTERRA business can be like, right? It takes time building that pipeline, no doubt. Okay. But once you get it turned on, it's not this little pipeline. It's this huge, huge amount. There's so many great things, not just financially, but your ability to be able to bless people around you, help them to be able to find healing, both physically and mentally and financially. I've been in some really rough places with my family, both with health and with finances. And number one, I don't want to be there again. And number two, I don't want other people to be there either. And so if I can do something that is going to help them to not go through that difficulty that I went through, or to be able to get out of that difficulty, that's what I want to do. And that's the amazing part of doTERRA. So I would invite you to think about this, talk to the people that have invited you, see if this is a good fit for you. doTERRA, business wise, is not for everybody, but can it be the right fit for you? It may very well be the perfect fit for helping with the things that you need. So with that, any questions that anybody wants to ask about this? All right. If not, we will sign off. Everybody, thank you so much for joining tonight. This has been a pleasure for me in being able to learn more about this in depth and be able to teach. And thank you so much for all your comments as well.
Thank you.
Thanks for your help. That was great.
Hey,
All
thank you,
right.
Catherine.
Have a good night, everybody.